What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 48 of An Untold Narrative. Today, we feature the lovely Sara Jaramillo, I think that's how you pronounce it, who is a footwear designer for and them, but also has a very extensive knowledge and background in footwear design, even working for Kanye at Yeezy for 3 years, I believe, or over 3 years.
A little bit over, but yeah, 3 years and a half, almost four.
So we were just chatting offline. You're currently based in Colombia, but you have
I'm based in Colombia.
roots in New York City, or you work in New York a lot.
Yeah. I lived there for a while. And then, yeah, I moved back, I think like 3 years now. But yeah, all my clients are still there. So I do travel a lot. Like I go to New York pretty often.
Awesome. And I believe we got connected first and foremost, and I did a little bit of research off your LinkedIn. We got connected simply because Dwayne Edwards of Pencil introduced me to Jeff Henderson, who's a legend in himself in the footwear world, who manages and runs and them as a consultancy. And you've been working there for a minute, and that's kind of I believe his roots are out of New York City, correct?
Yeah. So Jeff is based in New York. I met him at Yeezy. When we were working there, he was a consultant. And I think we sort of quit at the same time. And he wanted to do the like a creative agency for, I think, for a while. And it made sense. And he was like join me. I'm having like good projects. Like there's a couple people, like interesting people calling me, and I need help. So come and work with me. And here I am. Like I've been with him for 3-4 years now.
Wow, that's awesome. It sounds like it's working.
I think it is. No, for sure it is. Like it's super exciting because we have so many different projects. So I'm still like learning because every single project is different. Every client it's different. Like the needs that they have are totally different. So it's super interesting like to build, in some cases, the brands from scratch. So we help with the brand. Like I have marketing and strategy meetings, even though I'm just doing product. Like it's super interesting like being there. And we have like other bigger projects when we work with bigger companies, like big brands. So that's like a whole other world and projects. So it's just great like getting to learn everything from different just projects and experiences.
There's something interesting about working for like a smaller firm or company because you get to wear all these different hats, right? It's like you said, you're sitting in strategy meetings, although you're focused on the product design side of things, but you have to be part of it because it's a small core team. So it sounds like it's a fun environment, and you get to work from home in Colombia.
Yeah, that was the other thing. So I felt like I think I lived in New York for 6 years. And I don't know, like one day I woke up and I was like, maybe it's time to go back for a while. Like I miss New York a lot. So like in the pandemic that like we couldn't that we couldn't fly there. I miss New York a lot. But like normally when I miss it, I just take a flight in, and that's it. It's just like a 5 hour flight. We are like same time, so it's not that bad. But yeah, I lived in New York for 6-7 years, and one day I just wanted to come back for a while, but still like Jeff gave me the opportunity of keep working with US clients, being like keep being connected to New York, to the US, that I feel like it's like in our field, like of course like Colombia is not as exciting for footwear, but like I don't know, like it got me the opportunity of getting the best of both worlds
Yeah,
a little.
totally.
So
So you just talked about Colombia kind of as a maybe not, or I have no idea, kind of industrial design schools or footwear design schools. How did you, going back to when, you were growing up, how did you get into design? Were you always creative? Were you always drawing? Or how did you get started in the world of design?
so my mom is graphic designer, and she studied also fine arts. So I don't know, like since I was little, I was in like every single painting class, clay class, like whatever, like watercolors, like whatever you could do with your hands, I was there. So it was, I think it started there. I didn't know like I wanted to do footwear until I started fashion design, actually, because like I'm a fashion designer, not industrial, so that's a little bit weird in the field. um but I don't know, like the day that I needed to decide what I was gonna study, I don't know, like from one day to another, I was like, okay, I'm doing fashion. And like my dad is a doctor, and like I have like a big like doctor's family, so you can imagine like what my dad said. And I don't know, like it worked out. So I started fashion, and I played tennis my entire life, like competitive. So I was always like in sneakers and skirt. So I think like that's why like when I started studying fashion, I was always leaning towards sportswear, activewear. So like that was my, and I don't know, like one day just footwear started to make sense, also because of that like sporty world that I was like leaning into. And my first job was actually as a footwear and accessories designer. And I realized there that like if I wanted to pursue footwear, I needed more knowledge. Because yeah, like when you come like from a fashion background, you don't have like a specific knowledge in footwear. And when you get to build a collection, like a footwear collection, when you start dealing with suppliers and everything, you feel the need of like knowing a little bit more.
Yeah,
So
two different worlds, really.
two different worlds, like yeah, like like it's so like it's different, like making a t-shirt than like doing. So I
So
think like that's why it's easier for, maybe not like easier, but like I think that's why like a lot of footwear designers come from an industrial design. Like it makes total sense, because like I think at the beginning it was hard for me to understand like all those stuff coming from fashion.
So that's a really interesting kind of connection between tennis sportswear and then fashion. Were you like semi-pro or anything, or were you good or?
Almost, I was really good, but like when I was 15 or 16, I had to quit high school if I wanted to be like a professional, and my dad didn't let me. So he was like, "Of course not. Like you're good. You can just like play like this, and that's it, and like continue with
Do you,
your
do you ever
studies like
think do
with
you
high
ever
school."
think about if you like actually quit high school and pursued it, do you think you could have been a professional?
I don't know, cause like it's hard. Like I don't know, like it's hard, but like I love that. So at the like of course like when my dad told me like not to quit high school, I was super mad at him. But now like now that you see how hard it is like to really being professional, I'm like okay, like I'm fine,
Yeah,
like
no, it's
throwing speakers.
No, it's so interesting. Even a few episodes ago, we had Miles on, and he also talked about being like a semi-professional out of the UK, and he said he just had to devote his like years of his life to it. And it's like I was a casual player. I played in Division 3 in college, but it was just like you can show up to a match after drinking one night, and it was fine. So it was not professional by any means.
Yeah, yeah, no. It's a different world, but like I'm happy I end up designing sneakers because like like it's something in between not being professional at sports, but like still you have to understand like I love watching sports like in footwear, and like now that I'm in sneakers, like basketball is super important for the culture, and like so it's I don't know, it's somewhere in the middle, so
Yeah.
it's good. I'm happy I
So
didn't.
did you ever have a job that it was just fashion, or you mentioned your first job was really doing footwear and accessories. So did you immediately just take your fashion degree and just apply it directly to footwear, and then it's been all footwear since?
Yeah, so i did like my internship was in lingerie, and then my first real job was footwear, so I moved like almost immediately. But like lingerie is like another one of my loves. I still do a couple of projects, and I still have a couple of like fashion projects, and that's why like it's super interesting with Jeff, because like we are not doing just footwear. Of course, like it's our biggest and it's like the strongest that we have, but we're still doing like fashion projects, like, and they are really focused on like sportswear, activewear, because of course like that's our what we do better. But yeah, I still have a couple of like fashion projects,
So
and I want to keep having them.
you
Like I don't want to quit fashion.
don't it sounds like you don't freelance design those. You actually bring them through your guys' consultancy, correct? Or do you freelance the fashion projects?
Yeah, no, it's actually like almost all of them are with Jeff. I do a couple of projects on the side, but like really small, because actually I don't have a lot of time. So
um,
yeah.
so take us kind of through your progression, right? So you get a job out of university and you start designing footwear and accessories. What did you do after that?
Okay, so then when I realized I didn't know anything about footwear, and like so, like, and if I wanted to, like, of course, like the shoes, I got like destroyed shoes from like the shipping, and I was like, how, like, what am I like? How can I fix this? And then like when you start realizing like maybe like it's the glue, it's the way it's cemented, like all those more technical stuff, I was like, I need to have the knowledge to let the factory know what to do. So I went to Italy so I could have more the traditional type of footwear knowledge, but I knew like I was gonna end up doing something more in the sports world. But I thought it was like a great mix
So
between
what
traditional footwear and sneakers.
what
That at the end like was what I wanted to do.
what education was it in Italy, and then how long were you there for?
It was a master's degree, and I was there for a year, a little bit longer than a year. But yeah, it was for a year. And after Italy, I found an internship at Proenza Schooler in footwear. So I went back to New York, and at that time, that brand, it was great because they were doing like high fashion, but they had like a lot of sporty references that like at that time it wasn't that normal to mix. Like those both worlds
Yeah.
were still two different worlds. Like the sports world was on one side and fashion was on the other one. But it was super cool because they were having like references here and there. So, and then one day, so I started looking at more like sneakers things, and I found Pencil. So I asked for permission there, and I went to Pencil for a month and a half. So at that
You
time,
did
I was
Pence
living in New York. I did Pencil. Yeah, I think I did one of the first ones.
while you were working full time?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But no, but I asked for like 1 month. Oh no, no, because like Pencil was crazy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I asked for that month. So I went to Portland. I did Pencil. I cried a lot, and then I went back.
Wait. We're gonna deep dive. Why do you say that? Why was it stressful?
No, no, no. Yeah, I think it was, and I don't know. Like when I was at Pencil, I think it was a little bit. I think I was the only one that came from like the fashion world, and there I realized that industrial designers hate fashion designers, and I started like understanding why, like because the approach was so different than I think it was like super stressful for me because I I was learning a new process, and it was stressful.
Do you think that did like the other designers just have like an advantage being from an industrial design background, or
I wouldn't say an advantage. I would say the industry is more used to industrial designers. So I felt like it was harder for me just to understand that, not that like fashion designers, not that like we can do it or industrial designers can't do what fashion designers do. I think it's more it's just something different that it was a surprise for me to find out that the way I was used to do things, I needed to switch them a little. So the first day, I remember like doing ask for, we needed to bring like one picture for inspiration.
yeah?
I brought like four mood boards, like entire mood boards with thousands of pictures. So that was like my first. So Dwayne was like, okay, just pick one. And everyone had like just one image. And I was like why? Like, why? How am I gonna design just with one picture? Like that was, so everything started like that.
It got off on the wrong foot because you showed up with 1,000 photos.
With 1,000 pictures, and everyone just had one. They were like on track, and I was like almost crying trying to pick one. So it was, of course, like it was an amazing experience, but at the end I was like, okay, maybe I don't want to forget about my fashion background, and maybe going like full footwear sneakers world, it's not my thing. So I went back, just waiting for, I don't know, like something to show up that like at the end I was like okay with it. And then Yeezy came. So that was, like, I think, yeah, when I went back to New York, I didn't know like what I wanted to do, because I thought I wanted to work for Adidas, Nike, like all those big companies. And then when I did Pencil, I was like, of course, like it's an amazing opportunity, like an amazing world, but I wasn't quite convinced I wanted to do that. So I went back and I was just like, okay, let's just think about it. Um, and then like my boss at that time got the job at Yeezy, and she like one day she was like, we don't know what we're gonna do. It's like a craziness. It's a, like a new project, but I'm gonna need help, and like Kanye is going to work with Adidas, and I know like you really like that like sports performance world, so come with me and let's see
It
what this is
really,
about.
when you put it that way, you're absolutely right. Like Yeezy really isn't just sneakers. It's a mix of fashion and sportswear and technology and a little bit of everything. And so it seemed like a perfect fit, right?
It was like when that opportunity came, I was like, this is it. Like this is what I wanted.
Wait,
This is what I wanted.
so you're how many years into like your professional career are you like? Obviously you went back to school at some points, but was it like, do you have like a year of experience at this fashion company before, in 2 years, 3 years?
I think like 1 year and a half.
Okay, so you were still fairly
One
like
year and a
youthful.
half, two
Yeah.
years. Yeah. Yeah. I was like super junior at that time still. Um, but yeah, so Yeezy came, like as you said, it was the perfect mix of a little bit of everything. And Kanye was mixing the like the performance world with the fashion, and like right now like it seems super normal, but like by then it was
It was new.
a weird, yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
like a weird thing, like no one was doing that, and that's why like the fashion world weren't taking seriously, and the performance were like, they didn't understand what we wanted to do with fashion.
Where was it based out of? Did you have to move out of New York City?
So I was in New York, but like the main office was in Calabasas in LA. So we were just traveling a lot. We were doing like, of course, like we were working with Adidas. Production was in China. We were doing like the just Yeezy line in Italy. So we were like all over the world.
So
Um,
I don't remember if I
but yeah,
was.
I didn't move. I didn't move to LA. I was just traveling, going back and forth.
I don't. I think we were talking about this a while back, but I think or somebody told me about this experience with you, is that those like 3+ years is just like being all over the map. It takes a toll on you mentally, physically, emotionally. It's just a lot to handle being on the road all the time.
See. So one day, I think like I made the decision. Like it was super hard because like I love the team. I loved my boss there. Like of course you learn a lot. It's an amazing and weird experience. Like not, I don't think like you can compare it to any weird job even. Um, but one day I woke up and I think I didn't know where I was for almost like a minute. And I was like home. I was like in my apartment in New York. I woke up and like it took me so long to realize where I was that when I realized I was like in my apartment, I woke up and I was okay, this is it. Like this is it. Like this is what I like needed. Um to say that like maybe it was enough, maybe like this is just, yeah, sometimes like you feel that you did what you needed to do there,
Sure.
and
What
maybe
do you?
like time to move on. So one day, like it was, I think it was that day, and I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but it is time.
So what do you before we go to the next phase, what was like, what do you think is the best part, right? Because I think a lot of people in the industry will hear that it's very stressful, or that it's, it's a lot of travel, or it's a lot of craziness. But I don't think people talk about like the good things. Obviously you stayed for a very long time, right? Like you have to work on really cool projects with really good people. So like what do you think was like the best part of your experience?
like first, like Kanye is really involved in the process, and he is like, of course, like we all know, but like he is a true artist, like in every single thing. So getting to see how he makes references, how he could do music, bring it to fashion, fashion to music, like images, like art, like everything, like seeing how that it's possible. Because like, yeah, when you're more like in a commercial brand, or when you work in a more like conventional like when you have like a more like conventional job, you don't realize that's possible, like to really mix those worlds and make something out of it. So seeing that happening, it's just, I feel that like it's a designer's dream, because like that's what you do in that's what you do in school, and you think life is like that, and then you realize it's not. But here it was like that. It was like what you want to do when you graduate from design. Like that's, you want to mix art, you want to do something that the marketing team is not designing, and you're just doing experiments every single time. So it's it was a like hard job. The traveling was crazy, but it was a dream job. And actually, like when I was starting my career, I think that was great at that time. Also, like for my career, like realizing that you could really do that, and like that you could live out of doing experiments.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds
So
like it was a really amazing experience, and obviously you're part of a very small percentage of designers who have had the opportunity to work for Yeezy on a number of collections. So it speaks volumes to who you are as a designer for staying there for so long and working on the products and getting to witness the process,
definitely.
because I think that's the, and then you're able to translate that into your own world and kind of into the future.
Yeah, like it's not easy, because like when you get there, it's, I wouldn't say like it's the real world, but also like working with such amazing teams, and like with such amazing people. And I think like the other crazy thing at that time that like was great is, at the beginning, like we had an office, but everyone was sort of freelancing. They were still living where they, so it's great to work from, like it's great to work with people that are from different places, that come from different places. So because like it's not like, maybe it's also like not the same just working with people that are from like different countries, but they live in the US, they have been living there for a while. Like we got to work with people that like they were living in Paris, the other one in Amsterdam, the other one China. So it's great to have like that opportunity of mixing not just like a lot of words, like worlds, like art, music, but like also places and people. And yeah, so I think that's my biggest.
Yeah, that's really remarkable. It's very rare to mix so much culture and people and intermixed within the product. So it sounds like you took a lot of good things out of the experience. Although one of those days, it does sound like a scary experience of just like waking up one day and not knowing where you are and like you're actually at home. And it really something triggered you being like, okay, this isn't sustainable. I can't do this forever.
Totally.
Like
Yeah.
so I'm assuming you just made the realization of, okay, this isn't for me anymore. I need to quit. Did you have a plan, or did you have like work lined up, or you decided to just figure it out?
I decided to figure out. so so yeah, I didn't know what I was going to do, but yeah, I was like, I'll take, also like I was physically tired, so I don't know, like I think I wanted to have that time to I'm just gonna quit and chill for a couple days and think. A couple days, like I can do that for more than not even like 2 weeks. But like I wanted to have like a couple days to think about it, and Jeff didn't let me.
Oh my God.
Like he called me, yeah, like he called me like right away, and he was like, I need you, like I'm gonna start like some like amazing projects, and like, do you wanna do this while maybe like while you figure out? And here I am.
Oh my God. So you wanted to take like a couple weeks off just as a vacation in between jobs, and you didn't even get that chance.
No, but it wasn't bad because like at the beginning, like it was just like a couple projects, so I still had time on the side to think about like if I wanted to stay in New York, if I wanted to come back. And actually like, and Jeff, like it's been my mentor, so it was great also because like I could talk to him and like and say, what if I move back, like can I keep like can I work with you if I like move to Colombia, like I'll come here every 2 months, like so it was great to have him also like guiding me through like that change. Because yeah, because I was like super junior at Yeezy, so I was super stressed out, and like he helped me a lot with also like managing everything outside work. That yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds like everybody I've spoken to has only said really nice things about Jeff, and it sounds like that's just going to continue with your mentorship with him. And it's kind of interesting. Also, yourself, like, he doesn't have like a big social profile or anything like that. Like, he stays very underground and kind of, just does the work that's really good, and then nobody really knows about it. And I think there's something really nice about that, where you just focus on the work and not what other people, have to.
Totally. And I think like he enjoys that a lot. Just like doing doing a really good job, and that's it. And like making people happy and being a mentor. He I think like he said that maybe like a couple weeks ago in a meeting, that he enjoys that, I think, more than designing sneakers. He enjoys like guiding people to be great designers, and he asks amazing questions that like make you like think not just on the design. And it's I think yeah, I think he's a better mentor than actually a footwear designer, so
That's
that's a lot.
if there's one thing that's probably better than being a good footwear designer, it's definitely helping other people. So that's
Yeah.
a really good thing. Talk about because also one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on here was we were just talking about this before this started, was the one of the startup brands that and them has had the opportunity of working with is Lilith, the women's focused brand out of New York City as well, and you had the opportunity to design the sneaker for them. Talk about that experience and what it's like to like, what I think is really unique. And her name's also Sarah, which is going to get confusing, but you know, being a woman's focused brand, like designed by a woman for women, like talk about that experience, because I really think it's something super unique that nobody's really captured yet, like to a very good level in our industry.
Totally. So first, I think like all women, like the ones that like I'm not I'm, I'm not like I'm not a sneakerhead. I'm not good at like that's one of the things that like it's weird for me to say, but like it's true. Um, I don't know like all the names and all the like I'm not, but of course like I'm a designer, so I'm in that world. And I think when like all the women that like go to like that, if we go and buy a pair of sneakers, when you're in front of, when you're at the store in front of all of the sneakers, I could swear that we all have the same feeling and like the same questions. Like we ask the same questions, like why are all of them pink? Why do I like, why they are like my size, why it's not there, like all those tiny little like questions that I don't think men ever ask when they are in front of like a wall full of sneakers. So, and since like it is, I would say like it is a still pretty like men driven market, like not just market, I think like designers, CEOs of big like footwear companies and sneakers, I think it's still like a men's world.
Yeah, for sure.
Like it's changing, but I think it's been just couple years. Also, like that was my other surprise actually when I was in pencil. Like when I got there, I didn't know I was gonna be, I was gonna, yeah, I was gonna enter a men's world. Like in my head, like I didn't think about it, and then like when I got there, I was like, "Fuck, this is going to be hard because you're a woman, you know, like because you're a girl." And I, yeah, and I didn't think about that. Even though the fashion world, it's also the same. Like if you see like big CEOs, big designers, it's also like men. Even though you think as fashion as a women's world, it's not like
Yeah,
in higher positions.
yeah, I think that's probably that's why I believe, at least that's why Lilith can be super successful, is because the story is authentic and it's real and it's providing that different narrative that hasn't existed. And so, um, what was the design process like working with like a startup, right? You know, specifically like it's a niche product because like you can walk it, like you were talking about, you can walk into a Foot Locker and look at the women's side and it's all purple, pink, whatever, and it's like, how am I supposed to get inspired by creating something new for women's sneakers because it doesn't exist? So I have to create it. So talk about like, how did you start that process?
Okay, so first, I think with Sarah, it was, I think it was easy in the way of she has a really specific background. She had really like specific ideas. She knew what she wanted, and she has a pretty amazing story, just her and her story and her background and her parents and her, in general her story was different. So I think like what was hard for us is to realize we needed to use that story.
Mm,
So at the beginning, we started using other women's stories. So we were like, okay, we know we want to focus on like on a women's product, but we started to see like other women's stories. And one day we were like, why aren't we using yours? Like,
right.
and I think like something clicked and it started being super easy. And just because of her stories, like her pictures. So we took inspiration from like her background. And when we got to see those pictures when she was like her childhood, Sri Lanka, like everything, it was super easy to do a unique product because we were taking unique references.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it was hard to get to that point, but when we got there, it made sense.
Yeah, and it was easy.
Yeah. So we started talking like immigration, and like you as an immigrant in a city like New York, like what's your story, like what do you feel like when you get there? And I'm Colombian, I lived in New York, so it was like we all came from like the same place, sort of. I think like we all had the same as women. Like if you enter a store full of like men's sneakers, it I feel it is the same to come from like a different country to New York. I think we all have like the same like feelings. So we started talking about those, like what feels like home when you are in New York. Also, like if we come from like a tropical country, like it's hard to get to New York winter. So like all those little things started to be part of the story and the shoe.
Yeah, from my perspective, and I ordered a pair for my mom, and I think like the silhouette's so unique, like it just doesn't look like anything else, which is very difficult to do these days. It's like it's always easy to pull references to your point, like, oh, we're gonna follow mood boards of like what everybody else is doing, or like WGSN, or whatever it is. And it's like, okay, but everybody else is doing that, but my background being Colombian and hers, and we can tell these super interesting narratives and create this different silhouette and this different product. And I still I'm on the record of saying this, it's the best shoe package that I've ever opened in my life. I had to ask, did you have a hand in designing the box? Cause it's an experience opening up a double box.
It is. So that's why I love working with startups, because like I wouldn't say I have a lot to do with that, but I was in every single meeting with the branding team. So like it's great to co-create the entire experience with them, because then like you feel that it's not just a shoe, like, and getting to like being involved also in the experience makes it even more exciting for you to design the shoe, because like you're being part of also like when you got the box, when you open it, and it stops being just a product and it starts being an experience that starts when you get the box and until you wear the shoe. So it's great to be part of that entire thing.
It
So
really was so unique. Like to your point, it's an experience. It wasn't like anything else I've ever had in footwear. Like it was so different. And like just seeing like my mom's reaction being like, you've been working in footwear for 7 years, and I've been asking for a woman's product with a Vibram sole forever. And I'm like, that's because we don't work on enough women's product, and finally one existed. So it was pretty awesome. I'm super happy about it. And I wish Sarah, and obviously hopefully you guys get to design more product in the future together, because I believe there might be a future style that's super cool as well coming, maybe hopefully next year. So
we do. We already have one tooling that we know we want to work with it. So let's see if
do you do you have any like future, do you think about the future a lot, or do you kind of live more in the moment of like what you want to accomplish with your career? Because being in footwear, there's kind of the quote unquote ladder or the totem pole that you can climb, but it seems like you've taken a different route after your experience at with the corporate Yeezy. And although it's not really corporate because it's a little bit different, but like it seems like you take things a little bit slower now. But do you have any like big goals of your own? Like, do you ever want to start your own consultancy or your own firm, or like share any future plans for yourself?
so. Yeah, and actually, like it's going to be. I will say it's going to be, because I'm gonna work on it. But like sometimes it's hard, because like you still like you need to, I think like what I'm gonna do is like a more personal project, and like I want this to be, let's say, my future. um but right now like I'm working in a lot of things, so like right now it's hard to make the time, but I'm really I'm trying, I'm trying to give it like a little bit of time to make that. But like actually I would love it to be more in the art world. I I'm not gonna say no and never, but I think I don't want to have like my own 100% brand. So I I would love to keep working in the same projects for a long time, because like also I think that's another designer's goal, like for me to, I don't know, like if I see Lilith going and getting bigger, that's also like something I would love to see and I would love to be part of. So I want to keep doing that and working in the brands that I have been since the beginning. I think that's super rewarding. But yeah, like let's say like as a more personal project, I want to start doing more like art installations
Super
that
cool.
have to that have to that like sneakers are going to be there, and the meaning of sneakers, not just sneakers but like footwear, but more like in an art space and more like in a museum space, in a, yeah, just like not in a store, let's say. But yeah, I think like I want to keep working with what footwear means and all the meaning that like shoes have for our culture, and just put it like in a different, let's say, store.
That sounds really interesting. I can't wait for that to eventually. It will happen. I can't wait to find out how that cultivates itself as you progress and find the time, hopefully, over the next near future. I have two more questions for you. The first one is, where can people find you on social media, or where if they want to like learn more about your work? Do you have your own website, or do you like kind of just uh, focus on your social profiles, and where can people find you?
So yeah, so I've been trying to do the website for so long, but like um I'm still on it, but like right now I'm sharing like, yeah, my Instagram is now like my, let's say, my open portfolio. So I think in Instagram like you can see a little bit of my work, a little bit of my life, and a little bit of both. So I think, yeah, right now I'm just like sharing there. Soon I want to have the website.
And
And
what's your Instagram handle?
it is a Sarah JLLO.
Sarah JLLO.
No, wait. Yeah,
So
it's A
everybody
R A.
everybody make sure you go follow Sarah to find out the rest of her journey. Especially this sneaker exhibition art world collaboration that she's going to eventually put on. And then the last question that I have for you, which I try to, you have some experience now in the footwear world, working with a number of different people and corporations and projects and startups. What's what's one piece of advice that you would give to, somebody young or starting out or trying to get into the footwear industry, or who doesn't know what to do with their life, or anything, like any piece of advice that somebody's given you that's really helped you out? Because I find that a lot of our listeners are people who are trying to figure out what they're doing and or trying to get into the footwear industry. They're fairly on the younger side. So if you could provide a piece of advice to anybody, that'd be awesome.
I think, and like it's been working for me. It's create your own process, like just finding other ways of creating. Maybe like at the end you're gonna, we all like we all need to end up with a shoe, because like that's what we do. But I think right now what it's unique is the processes that everyone's creating. And I think right now it's more interesting to know the process than to actually see a final like footwear result or like a final shoe. And because like right now, like if we see there's a lot of shoe designers that are doing great things just with their processes, like with the way they think about design, with the way they think about construction. Maybe they don't even have like one shoe that's selling, but they are creating just such a different process that it enriches the result at the end. So just like doing experiments while you find the process. And I think like it's been working for me because I come from like a fashion background. I didn't know it was going to be like that hard coming from a fashion background to get into the footwear world. But right now at the beginning I saw it as like as a bad thing. And now I see that like there's a lot of people that like my work just because I come from like a different background.
Yeah, you have a
So
different
I think
perspective.
that's really valuable. Yeah. And yeah, like maybe one day like I cried over it. I was like, fuck, like I should know I was gonna like I was gonna design shoes, I would go to industrial design. And now like I realize I have maybe something different, and I would encourage people to create those different processes and yeah, not follow maybe the same design steps. Maybe you have to know them, of course, because like design, it's not a just it's not art,
Yeah, it's not a linear process. Everybody's story is a little
but
bit different.
but yeah, I think it's just find another way to experiment and to get there.
Yeah, that's great advice. Everybody should figure out their own process and just and go with it and share your story, because people will care about it, especially if you bring a unique perspective. Sara, this has been awesome. Thanks for joining us on episode 48 of An Untold Narrative, and sharing all of your experiences and getting into it with us. Thank you.
It's great to be here and to get the opportunity of talking. I think it's my first podcast in English.
Is it really?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, this is awesome. I'm super happy about that.
Yeah. Nah, since I'm based in Colombia, like of course like I'm forgetting my English a little. So like sometimes I'm afraid of like talking for hours in English. But yeah, so that's why I think this is my first one.
Well, this is
But
just,
yeah,
it's
thank you so
practice.
much for having me today.